I remember that afternoon. Warm sun on my back. Lying in the yard, eyes half closed. Nothing wrong with the world. Then, 1 second. One dog, one bite, 1 second. And something entered my body that I couldn't see, couldn't smell, couldn't feel. But it was already moving, already planning, already heading somewhere inside me. Somewhere it had gone before, in other dogs, in other animals, for thousands of years. And I had no idea. That's the terrifying part. I had absolutely no idea. Let me tell you what entered me that day. It wasn't just a sickness. It was a virus, the Rabies virus. And it does one thing very specifically, very deliberately. It inflames the brain and spinal cord. Progressively. Fatally. Almost every single time, once it reaches the brain. Here's the number that should stop you cold. 99% of human rabies cases in the world come from infected dog bites. Every year, approximately 59,000 people die from this disease worldwide. 95% of those deaths in Africa and Asia. But the United States isn't immune. The virus exists here too. In bats, raccoons, skunks, foxes, and in dogs that never got their shot. Half of all victims worldwide are children under 15. Children, the ones who run toward dogs, the ones who don't know to be careful, the ones who just want to pet something soft. I caught it from another dog's bite. That's the most common way, a bite from an infected animal. The virus lives in saliva. One bite, virus enters the wound. But it can also happen without a full bite. Infected saliva touching an open wound or a mucous membrane, eyes, nose, mouth. You don't always need a deep wound. You just need contact. In the wild, bats are one of the most common carriers. Raccoons, skunks, foxes. Any of them could have bitten that dog before he bit me. And so the chain continues. Here's what made this virus so dangerous. After it entered my body through that bite, it didn't rush. It was patient. It found my nerve cells, and it started moving, slowly, quietly, through my peripheral nerves, up toward my spinal cord. No alarm went off inside me. No sign that anything was wrong. This is called the incubation period. For dogs like me, it's typically 3 to 8 weeks. Sometimes as short as a few days. Sometimes as long as 6 months. And during all of that time, I looked completely normal. I played, I ate, I wagged my tail. My family had no idea. I had no idea. But here's the part that should make your stomach drop. Up to 5 days before I showed a single symptom, I was already shedding the virus in my saliva. 5 days. If I had bitten someone during those 5 days, someone who thought I was perfectly healthy, the virus would have transferred. And they wouldn't have known either. The first sign was strange. I kept going back to the bite wound, licking it, scratching at it. Something itched there, deep, uncomfortable, persistent. My family noticed I seemed a little off, restless, nervous, not eating much. I flinched at sounds I normally ignored. My temperature was slightly elevated, a low fever. This was stage 1, the prodromal phase. It lasts 2 to 3 days, and it looks like almost anything else. A bad day, an upset stomach, stress. Nobody could have known. Then came the part I don't want to talk about, but I have to. Because you need to understand what this virus actually does to a dog, not just medically, but from the inside. One morning, I snapped at the air. Nothing was there. I paced, circled, paced again. My family's faces, the faces I loved, started to look like threats to me. I growled at my owner, one who had never shown aggression a day in my life. I growled at the person who fed me, held me, loved me. I wasn't choosing this. I need you to understand that. The virus had reached my brain. It was making copies of itself, spreading through my neural tissue. And now it was traveling back out, down through the nerves, to my salivary glands. My saliva was now loaded with the virus. I was barking at things that weren't there, snapping at invisible objects in the air. I ate a rock, a stick, something from the floor. My pupils were dilated. I was circling in the yard, unable to stop. Tremors started, then a seizure. This was stage 2, the furious phase. It can last 1 to 7 days. And the whole time, one small part of me, some quiet place deep in my dog brain, was still in there, watching, confused, not understanding why I couldn't stop, wondering why everything felt like danger. This wasn't me. This was the virus, running its program through my body, and I couldn't override it. After the fury came the silence, the worst kind of silence. I couldn't swallow anymore. Saliva pooled at the corners of my mouth, foaming, dripping. My lower jaw dropped. The muscles gave out. My hind legs stopped working first. Then the paralysis crept forward. My voice changed. The bark I'd had my whole life became something unrecognizable. And then I couldn't breathe properly. My brainstem was failing. This was stage 3, the paralytic phase, 2 to 4 days. And then, death from respiratory paralysis. For dogs, from the first symptom to death, 3 to 7 days. No cure. No treatment. Nothing any veterinarian in the world could do once the signs appeared. To stop the suffering. To prevent the spread. I understand that now. Now, let me tell you what happens on the other side. If I had bitten someone during those furious days, the virus would have entered their wound through my saliva, and it would have done the same thing it did to me. Found their nerve cells, started moving. Slowly, quietly, patiently. The human incubation period is typically 2 to 3 months, but it can be as short as 1 week or as long as a full year. It depends on where the bite happened. A bite on the face or neck, close to the brain, and the virus arrives faster. A bite on the foot, longer journey, more time to act. But most people don't know that clock is running. At first, a bitten person feels like they have the flu, fever, headache, fatigue, weakness, and something specific, tingling, itching, or burning at the bite site. That's a warning sign most people miss. Then the neurological phase begins. 80% of human cases become what's called furious rabies, hyperactivity, agitation, confusion, hallucinations. They can't sleep, severe anxiety with no clear cause, seizures, and then the most haunting symptom of this entire disease, hydrophobia, fear of water. The person tries to drink, and their throat goes into violent spasm. Not just discomfort, violent, terrifying spasm. They see water and panic. They hear water and panic. Even a light breeze, aerophobia, fear of air, triggers the same response. Here's why, and this is the part that reveals just how sophisticated this virus is. The virus targets the brainstem. The brainstem controls swallowing. When infected, swallowing triggers painful spasms, so the person stops drinking, stops swallowing their own saliva, which means the saliva, loaded with virus, accumulates. More saliva, more virus, more chance of transmission. The virus essentially reprogrammed a human being's behavior to serve its own spread. That's not a disease. That's a strategy. The remaining 20% of cases develop paralytic rabies, gradual weakness spreading from the bite site, creeping paralysis, coma. Less dramatic, but just as fatal. And after symptoms begin in any form? For humans, death within 7 to 14 days after symptom onset, usually from cardiorespiratory arrest. The brain stops controlling breathing. The heart follows. There is no specific treatment once clinical signs appear. Doctors can only minimize pain, and this is why. Why I needed to tell you this whole story. Because the danger isn't the bite you can see coming. It's the one you dismiss. The small scratch, the minor puncture, the dog that seemed fine. If a dog bites you or anyone near you, here is exactly what to do. Do not wait. Do not watch YouTube. Go. Step 1. Wash the wound immediately with soap and water. Scrub it, flush it, for a full 15 minutes. Step 2. After washing, apply an iodine containing antiseptic if available. Step 3. Do not apply chili powder, plant juices, acids, or any home remedy. Do not cover it with a tight bandage. Step 4. Go to the emergency room immediately. There, you will receive PEP, post-exposure prophylaxis, a series of rabies vaccine injections. Rabies immunoglobulin, antibodies injected directly into and around the wound. If started before symptoms appear, PEP is nearly 100% effective. Every hour you wait narrows that window. About the dog that bit, if it can be safely confined, confine it. Observe for 10 days. If that dog remains healthy for 10 days after the bite, it did not transmit rabies at the time. If the dog dies or shows symptoms, brain tissue will be tested post-mortem to confirm. You cannot identify a rabid dog in early stages by looking. During incubation, the dog looks completely, perfectly normal. That is the danger. But in later stages, here's what to watch for. Foaming at the mouth or excessive drooling. Lower jaw dropped, mouth hanging open. Staggering, dragging hind legs. Extreme aggression, attacking anything moving. Seizures or tremors. Snapping at air. If you see these signs in any dog, stray or owned, do not approach. Stay at least 50 feet away. Do not touch. Call animal control immediately. Keep your family and your pets away. In the United States, rabies vaccination for dogs is legally required in most states. There's a reason for that. Vaccinating dogs is the single most cost-effective strategy to prevent human rabies. Eliminate the disease at its source. The vaccine schedule for dogs. First vaccine at 12 to 16 weeks of age. Booster 1 year later. Then every 1 to 3 years, depending on your state's laws and the vaccine type. The vaccine contains no live virus. It cannot infect your dog. Side effects are rare and mild. For people in high-risk situations, veterinarians, animal shelter workers, wildlife handlers, hikers in remote areas, travelers to endemic regions, pre-exposure vaccination is available and recommended. If you're traveling internationally to parts of Africa or Asia where rabies is highly endemic, know where the nearest medical facility with PEP is located before you go. Here's what I want you to leave with. Not fear, not dread. The truth, which is actually quietly extraordinary. Rabies is one of the most preventable deadly diseases on Earth. A vaccine that costs less than a dinner out, given on schedule, stops this entire chain. My owner vaccinating me protects me, protects their family, protects strangers who might encounter me on a walk, protects children who don't know to be careful. One shot. That's the distance between this whole story and nothing happening at all. I think about that afternoon sometimes. The warm sun, the yard, the 1 second I didn't see coming. I don't blame the dog that bit me. He didn't know either. We were both just living our lives, and a virus used us both. That's what viruses do. They don't hate. They don't choose. They just move from body to body through every moment of trust and closeness that makes life worth living. A lick on the face, a playful nip, a bite that breaks skin. The only thing standing between that virus and your family is a small needle. Once a year, or once every 3. Please, don't skip it. Not for me. For the child who doesn't know to ask,